Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, May 21st, 2019. This is the Sports Review. We have two playoff games, one in the NBA, one in the NHL, and some baseball games today. There's some baseball games that have some nice date numerology reads. We'll get to them, but we'll start with the playoffs. The date numerology today is 65, 38, 20, and the lesser method's 45. The 38 stands out in both playoff series. Starting with the basketball game, the Raptors, who are at home, are at 38 wins. And it's possible they could stay on those 38 wins today. Ontario equals 38, again, the 38 date numerology. However, if the Raptors win, they get their 39th win, and 39 connects to the two-star players in the game. For Kawhi Leonard of the Raptors, his upcoming birthday is in 39 days. And for Giannis of the Bucks, it's his 167th day of his age, the 39th prime number. So it's interesting how the 39 overlaps with the two big stars on the court. If the Raptors win, they'll even the series 2-2. Another thing for the Raptors is if they won today, they'd be 7-2. 7 wins, 2 losses at home in the playoffs. Toronto with the alphabetic order 72. Now for the Bucks, it's their 47th away game of the season, which is the 15th prime number. And if they were to win today, they'd stay at 15 away losses in their 47th game. So that's something to consider for the Bucks. There's not really any other great clues for this specific basketball game. I still like the Bucks to win the series because of the overall series records. If the Bucks win, they'll be if the Bucks win the series, they'll be 3-6 in conference finals. Toronto equals 36 in both reduction ciphers. Again, this is the Bucks' 48th playoff series all time. If they win, they'd get their 19th win in 2019 to advance to the 2019 NBA Finals. Milwaukee Bucks equals 48 in terms of it being their 48th playoff series. It was 48 years ago that they won the championship. It is possible that this series goes Game 7. Game 7's on a date with 71 numerology, and the Bucks last won the championship in 71. If the Raptors lost this series, they'd also become 5-11 in playoff series, 11 the fifth prime number, that prime number relationship. The one narrative for the Raptors is they've never won a conference finals before. This is their second time in the conference finals. If they won, they'd be 1-1. Bucks does equal 11, like 1-1. And somebody sent me a nice text message about a riddle for the Raptors and Warriors to meet in the finals. It would be through Vince Carter. Vince Carter was drafted by Golden State and traded to the Raptors. It is an interesting thought. But, if you've been following the work, I've documented reasons why I like the Bucks more, including the start date of the NBA Finals, which connects to Giannis, the star player of the Bucks. So, tonight, very tough read. What I would do is I would track how the money lies at game time. So this can change a lot between now and game time. Right now, it's very evenly split. It's about 50-50. If it gets lopsided, I would go the opposite direction of the way the money's laying. So, if everybody's on the Raptors to win by game time, if it gets lopsided and 80-some% of the money's on the Raptors, I might favor the Bucks. But it's a tight read here. Again, today's best games are going to be in baseball. In the NHL, you got the Sharks at the Blues, and the Sharks are facing elimination. So they are away at St. Louis. St. Louis has been a funny team in the playoffs. They've played well on the road and poorly at home. So the Sharks, they're 3-5 away in the playoffs. If they won today, they'd become 4-5. Today has lesser date numerology of 45. And the lesser date numerology does seem to be playing. In the last NBA game, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, it had lesser date numerology of 43, and it was the 43 that was picked up in the stat column. I believe it was the Bucks got their 43rd loss against the Raptors all time. Both cities on the 43rd parallel as well. So, if the Sharks win today, they can improve to 4-5 on the lesser date numerology of 45. The Sharks are 56-36 on the season. Away, they're 24-21. If they got an away win here, they would get their 25th. St. Louis equals 25 in the most pure cipher. So they can stay alive with an away win, getting 25 in a big game. That would even the series 3-3. We know Game 6 equals 33. Today's also the 141st day of the year. If you write out 33 as a word, it equals 141. Kind of like a 3-3 series. The Blues are 4-5 at home in the playoffs. 4-5. They are 27-20 at home for the season. If they lost today, they would get their 21st loss on the 21st day of the month. It's the Sharks' 21st year in the playoffs. It's the Blues' 42nd year in the playoffs. The Blues have a chance to close out 4-2 today. Missouri does equal 42. The biggest thing going against the Sharks today, they could get their 38th loss away all time at the Blues. It's a 38-date numerology. They could also get their 33rd win on the 141st day of the year. Again, when you write out 33-141, so tricky. If the Sharks did get closed out today, they'd be at 59 wins against the Blues. Blues equals 59. Blues 59. Right now, the series is 17-17 in the playoffs. 59 is the 17th prime number. Sharks coach is trying to get his 33rd playoff win today. He's at 47 playoff wins all time. St. Louis equals 47 as well. He's 10-9 in the playoffs for the season. With the win, he would get to 11-9. The loss, 10-10. The Sharks goalie, he's playing for his 33rd win of his career in the playoffs and also his 47th win of the season. St. Louis is 47. Last game, the numbers went against the Blues coach and goalie. Or not the Blues, the Sharks. Last game, the numbers went against the Sharks coach and goalie, and the Sharks did lose last game. They lost 5-0. Today, they have a little bit more favorable riddle. So, another standout thing is the star player for the Sharks, Tomas Hertl. It's his 191st day of his age, the 43rd prime. San Jose's 43, St. Louis is 43. We talked about the possibility of the series going 7 games, being a 4-3 series. Could happen again. If the Sharks win today, we're going to Game 7 in San Jose. If the Sharks can come back and win this series, they would be 4-2 against the St. Louis Blues. Against San Jose Sharks, 42. Missouri, 42. It's the Blues' 42nd year in the playoffs. In 2016, these teams met in the conference finals, and the Sharks, they did win the series 4-2. The Blues had the home ice advantage, and they lost to the Sharks. This year, it's the opposite way around. The Sharks had the home ice advantage. If they lost, it would be deja vu of 2016, but just the script going the opposite direction. So, I still keep thinking of the Von Miller riddle, which we tracked perfectly in the last round, and how it also, it connected to 2016, the year the Sharks and the Blues won. Keep in mind, the Sharks are the only team alive with a 101 connection. This is the 101st Stanley Cup. If they got eliminated today, what would have happened is all the teams with the 101 connections in the playoffs would have been eliminated in each round. Nashville in the first round, the Islanders in the second round, and the Sharks in the third round. But to me, it just seems like there's got to be a team with some 101 symbolism there. So, the other point that needs to be made about the Blues is 49 years ago, they played the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals 49 years ago. And that matters because Blues equals 49, NFL equals 49, Super Bowl equals 49, and we've mentioned it a few times. This season, this sports season's had a lot to do with Boston. The World Series was synced up with the Super Bowl, something we identified before the World Series or the Super Bowl was played. And we thought it might be synced up with the NBA this year as well. Well, Boston's out there, but they're still alive in the NHL. We pointed out how before these playoffs began, if Boston won the Stanley Cup, they'd get 322 playoff wins all time, 322, number that connects to Yale, which connects to Walter Camp, who's responsible for American football. And remember, the Patriots, the Boston team, just beat the Rams, who were in St. Louis not long ago. So that's why Blues 49, Super Bowl 49, NFL 49 matters in light of the Blues and the Bruins playing in the Stanley Cup 49 years ago. So it makes things tricky, absolutely. Not crazy about tonight's game. Again, I would watch the pregame, and I would see how the money lies. If it gets lopsided, I would just go the opposite way of the money. When the reads are too tight with the numbers, better to use some other data. So right now, St. Louis has 84% of the money. This could change a lot by game time. So I leave this link in the description of the videos. Check this as close as you can to game time. And if it's still lopsided, I would take San Jose to cover. That would be my call. I know some of you don't like to take teams to cover. You like to, you like to go for the big win. I mean, do what you want, but I'm a conservative type of guy. So, Sharks Blues, tight one. I can't get over the Joe Thornton riddle though either. Joe Thornton drafted by the Bruins 22 years ago. Boston 22, Sharks 22. Joe Thornton wears the number 19. It's 2019, so Blues have been weak at home. They've been very vulnerable at home in the playoffs. But they got that 38 thing going for them. So that's that. The better games today, I believe, are in the MLB. MLB, we got some nice date numerology reads. So we got the 20-date numerology, and this is the date numerology method that's been very consistent for going on 2 weeks. Yesterday, the date numerology played the 37-12. 37, the 12th prime, played very nicely. So we don't have the 20 in this Athletics-Indians game, but what does stand out is it's the Indians' 47th home game. Indians equals 47, Ohio equals 47. 47 is the 15th prime number, and they could get their 15th home win and their 47th game. So that stands out. The Phillies, with a loss today, would pick up their 20th loss. They could get the 20th loss today on the 20-date numerology. Now, Rockies and Pirates is tricky because they're already on the number. When you're already on the number, it's never as consistent. But if the Pirates were to win today, they'd stay at 20 losses and the Rockies would stay at 20 wins. And that would set up a nice narrative for tomorrow because tomorrow we'll have 21-date numerology. And then the Rockies and Pirates could possibly do the 21 thing tomorrow. When you're already on the number, it's tricky. If the Rockies say they won today, they would get to 21. The Pirates would get their 21st loss. Tomorrow would be on a 21-date numerology. You might see, the Rockies stay on 21 tomorrow. The Pirates stay on 21 tomorrow. And then it would be set up for the 22-date numerology the day after. But I'm hoping the Pirates stay right there so we can get a good read for tomorrow. I'd probably lean the Pirates' way, but again, when you're already on the number, it's not as consistent. That wouldn't be the game I'd put in a parlay. Yankees and Orioles. Not crazy about this. German, who's having a great year, he's 8-1. For his career, he's 10-8, the major league number, Major League 108. If he lost today, he'd become 10-9. Yankees is 109. And if the Yankees did win, they'd also become 13-7 away, a bit like 137, the 33rd prime. New York's 33. Today's the 141st day of the year. When you write out 33, it equals 141. So not crazy about this game. The Yankees pay nothing. And if I was going to bet it, I wouldn't bet very much. I would just lay off because also the Orioles can pick up their 33rd loss. The riddle's not quite convincing enough to think that the Orioles could upset the Yankees. German becoming 10-9 is possible, but the pitchers' records haven't been good variables to lead with. Orioles would be a nice payout if they won, but the riddle's just not quite strong enough in my opinion. If they had something going with the date numerology, I'd be all over it. If they were going for their 20th win, I would think that was a great pick. Red Sox and Blue Jays. Here's a potential upset right here. Blue Jays can get their 20th win on the 20-date numerology. That'd be a nice payout. They're a heavy underdog at home. Let's see. Dodgers and Rays. Not a great enough clue there to have confidence. The Nationals, they're a team that could pick up their 20th win today on the 20-date. 20th win on the 20-date. The Astros, Verlander's on fire. They're not worth a bet, but notice they can get their 33rd win on this 141st day of the year. Again, when you write out 33, it's 141. Let's see. Also, somebody made a good point during the live stream. They said if you just add the day and the month, so 5 plus 21 for May 21st, it equals 26. And they said they've noticed in the stretch that the date numerology has been good. Even that riddle's been pretty consistent as well. And I went back and looked and I said, yeah, it has been pretty consistent. It hasn't been quite as good as the full date numerology of 20. But so 5 plus 21, 26. So look at where the 26s come today. The Athletics could get their 26th loss. The Indians their 26th win. That factors into the 47-15 riddle. The Rockies could get their 26th loss today. That would keep the teams on the 20s on the 20 date. The Red Sox could get their 26th win, which would contradict the 20, but I'm digging the 20 more. That's been the more consistent date numerology method. Tigers have a chance to stay on 26 losses, but I wouldn't do that. Again, staying on the number is never as consistent as going into it. If the Nationals pick up that 20th win on the 20 date, that would give the Mets the 26th loss on May 21st. The Reds have a chance to stay on 26 losses, but again, when you're already on the number, never as consistent. White Sox would also pick up their 26th loss today, with the Astros doing the 33 thing on the 141st day of the year. Braves and Giants is Giants are already at 20 wins, but again, when you're already on the number, you already know what I'm going to say. They're already on 26, so I'm just not crazy about that game. But if the Giants do lose today, remember, this series ends on a 22-date numerology. Braves equals 22. Tomorrow we'll have 21-date numerology, and the day after we'll have 22-date numerology. It's possible the Giants do drop it today and win the next two. And I think it's very likely they're at 22 wins on the 22 date when the final game of this series between the Braves and Giants is played. So keep that note in mind. The Angels, let me show you their schedule real quick. So they're playing the Twins. Twins equals 22. They're at 22 wins. If they lost today and tomorrow, they'd stay on 22. Their next series is May 24th. This will be a date with 23 numerology. It's possible that they might be stuck on 22 for a minute and have to wait to play the Rangers to get that 23rd win. So another thing to keep in mind. And the Diamondbacks are a team that have a shot at the 26th win today. Greinke's on the mound, who's pretty tough. So what I would do is I'd put together some parlays and mix it up, some two-team parlays, maybe some three-team parlays with teams going for the 20th win or 20th loss. Those are your most likely bets. and just make some different combinations, because the majority of the games are hitting on this date numerology. So if you put together 4 parlays, very likely you hit on at least 3 of them, and you should come out way ahead. And again, when you make parlays, if you make them smart, a $10 parlay can pay upwards of $80, $90 if you have the 3 right teams, if they're underdogs. So teams I like today, this one doesn't have the 20 riddle, but I do like the Indians here. Phillies picking up the 20th loss, seems likely. If I'm putting together a group of parlays, I might mix in one with this Rockies-Pirates game, but because the team are already on the number, I'm not as crazy about it. The Blue Jays would be a nice upset. So just keep in mind that 26 thing could go for the Red Sox. That's the one thing there. But the Blue Jays would be a nice payout. That might also just be a good game to just bet on individually as well, just because it would be a decent payout alone. So Nationals can pick up that 20th win, and notice they're a heavy underdog. So the only thing I could see going against the Nationals is it's the Mets' 47th game, the 15th prime. They could give the Nationals the 15th away loss. But the date numerology, it's been so good. And remember, with the date numerology pattern, it'll hit with the majority of games, but typically not all. The only day in the past 2 weeks where the date numerology has been great, where it hit with all of them, was on that 25 date numerology. All the 25 games came through that day. So if you put together a mix of parlays that day with the 25 games, you won on all of them. Was there a note about that game? Oh, yeah, that was the other thing about this Giants game. It's their 23rd home game, which is the 9th prime. And again, it hasn't been real consistent with the prime numbers in the total home and away games. It went 2 out of 3 yesterday, favorably. But that could go against the Giants today. And again, they could stay on the 20 losses on the 20 day. So I'd consider this game, but being already on the numbers, never as good of a riddle. So... But yeah, I'd mix it up with those 20 games, and I think you'll have some success there. So, and just be mathematical. Do the math. Say, okay, if I won this game, if I won this one, and I lost this one, how would I do? How can I make this insurance pick to make this safer? Maybe somewhere you want to hedge against yourself. So, but the date numerology. If you're just following the date numerology in baseball, you're doing very well right now. And that's the other thing too. If you want to be less risky, you can just bet on all the 20 games. And if you would have done that for the last 2 weeks, you would have come out ahead every single day. So you'd come out ahead every single day following this date numerology pattern for the past 2 weeks. All right, we'll leave it there. Be back tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. And on Wednesdays, we're going to start doing the PGA tournament. We'll do it on Wednesday, the day before the tournament begins on Thursday. So that's tomorrow. Till next time, Truth Seeker.